Hello, everyone. Or should I say GM, because I've seen this is the way to start Twitter spaces nowadays. But okay, X spaces, but we had some technical difficulties, so we lost the previous space. We couldn't start, we couldn't join the previous space, so we kind of missed all our Cartesians that have set up notifications before. So sorry about this, but yeah, we are still regrouping here apparently. So we are waiting one more minute for everyone to join and hope you're all having a great day or afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for tuning in and hope everyone made it to this new link. And we are super excited for this session and we have a lot to unpack today. So let me see if we have all our speakers first on the stage. Yeah, it looks like everyone is here, and shout out to all our Cartesians in the audience. I'm seeing lots of familiar faces, so welcome everyone, and thank you all for being here. And let's slowly dive in as we are waiting for everyone to connect. And let's quickly start with a round of intros to know who is joining us today. And let me go first because I'm already speaking, right? So my name is Cynthia. I'll be your host today. I'm part of the Cartesi Foundation Marketing Department, and some of you might already know me from Telegram, from interacting on Reddit, on our communities, and we share lots of chats during this last year, right? Actually, somehow been part of the extended Cartesi ecosystem and following the project since 2021. So I'm really happy to be here today, witnessing this milestone for Cartesi and sharing it with all of you here, with all our community. So super excited as we step in this new era for Cartesi. And let me now pass the mic also to our speakers today. I see here Max, Nico, Milton. Yeah, we have everyone. If you go ahead, please, to introduce yourself, your unit, and also your role in the Cartesi ecosystem. You go first, Max.
Yeah, I'll start. Max here. I'm part of the ecosystem growth unit. Yeah, I think that's quite self-explanatory. Helping foster an ecosystem around this amazing technology. Yeah.
Great, short and great. Nico, Milton, go ahead, please.
I can go. Hello, everybody. Really glad to be here. So I'm Milton. I've been with Cartesi for like a little over 3 years already. Currently, I'm leading the technical coordination unit, which has the responsibility of making sure all the units that are involved with developing the Cartesi technology, they coordinate and collaborate so that we have a healthy advancement of the Cartesi stack in technical terms. And for that, we always incentivize the unit lead to discuss, prioritize the features that we could add to the system improvements, as well as coordinate their implementation to try to remove any friction between the units while implementing stuff. And so, yeah, the goal is just to have all the contributors to the Cartesi tech to coordinate their efforts in an organized, productive way, and all that while keeping the foundation's vision for the project clear for everyone. So that's what we've been doing.
Hi guys, I'm Nico. I'm part of the Dev Advocacy unit. I'm looking after everything related to user-facing documentation. So by that, we're mainly focusing on the documentation portal, but also we're currently extending our reach beyond that to publishing external guides on Cartesi on platforms like itGlobal. I've been with Cartesi since January, and yeah, looking forward to sharing some infos on our docs today.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's great having you all here. And one good thing is that the recording will remain on the feed. So for everyone who is still stuck on the old link, so we are very sorry about those technical difficulties. It doesn't depend on us, so we have to thank X Spaces for this. Okay, so without further ado, let's kickstart our discussion, right? So rollups on the mainnet, right? Or better said, DApps using Cartesi Rollups being able now to be deployed on Ethereum mainnet. And the first one to say so, our flagship, Honeypot, right? So this is a moment eagerly awaited by our community, and I know this for a fact from all our community questions and comments along the year. So let's dive deeper and try to understand what this milestone really means for Cartesi. And I think I'm going to ask Milton here, that's been working hard together with all our tech units and all the technical contributors. So let's start unpacking this. What this stage really entitles now, and what it actually means both for the Cartesi ecosystem and also of course, for developer building with the Cartesi solution and what is now possible. Okay, too many questions already. So can we start unpacking this a bit more, Milton, please?
Sure. Thank you. First of all, this is really like a celebration moment, I guess, for everybody here in the community. I believe it's a major achievement in terms of the maturity of the Cartesi technology, which has been under development for a number of years, right? Even before 3 years ago. And so over the course of this time, a lot of things have happened. Our core technology, which is the Cartesi machine, it has been steadily improving over the years. And today, we can really be happy that it's extremely robust, performance, RISC-V deterministic virtual machine. It's so performant that last weekend it was shown like running Doom in the browser with a Cartesi machine and the deterministic RISC-V virtual machine booting Linux and running Doom. So it's really an achievement. I think the maturity that it has achieved now. Of course, there's always room for improvements, but today I think we are very confident that this VM can really be an excellent foundation for a very solid and secure layer 2 system, which is what we are getting now, right? So we actually released a number of versions of software over the years to have a full layer 2 solution. Since 2020, we had Descartes, it's now called Cartesi Compute, which was an optimistic computational oracle, kind of like a simplified Rollups. It works, but we always kind of shied away from telling everybody that it's mainnet ready and we can use real assets on it for a number of reasons. The usability wasn't that great. We learned a lot along the way. Since the usability wasn't that great, we didn't have so many use cases being tested on it. So and it was part of the code was really complex and hard to audit. So a number like 2 years ago, more or less, the core contributors in Cartesi, we gathered and we looked at what happened in the industry, and we saw that really our technology, Cartesi machine, and the way that we could integrate this with fraud proofs would be an excellent choice for a rollup system. And so we decided to build Cartesi Rollups over these years. So that involved like major refactoring, simplification of the on-chain code that we had. We improved the Cartesi machine further so it supports a much better user experience. And we learned from our experience so that we built a lot of test applications using it. We released several versions. We interacted a lot with the community and really grateful for that, both in live events, both on Discord and other platforms. We were really amazed by incredible ideas and applications that were built along the way by the community, from machine learning applications to really studying games, and all that continuously improving the software we had, fine-tuning the solution, the APIs that we would offer, and the documentation that we have, so that now, after all this time, I think it comes this magical moment when, we actually do feel confident that the software that was created and is out there is safe, it's stable enough, and we could be put to the final test, which is you can be used as a basis for that to be deployed on mainnet and for real with real assets and play with it. So I think for developers, ecosystem as a whole, this means that really all those years of development and experimentation, they have finally culminated in a working product, something that can be used for real. And of course, there's a lot that can be done, right? But a lot that we are still discussing, additional features that will improve, like again, actually the design space, as you say, the number of applications that we could do. But I believe that this moment is already a moment of reassurance to all who believe in the vision of Cartesi that this is now a reality. Actually, we can already use this technology to empower Web3 and bring applications in blockchain to the next level.
Absolutely. Beautifully said, Milton. Something that can be used for real. So this was a great overview here with a lot of context and a lot of history of Cartesi. And let me just jump in with a quick follow-up question. Could you also touch a bit on what's next in the big pictures? And also, I mean, why it made sense for Cartesi to contribute to the scalability of Ethereum? And I guess I'm hinting here to the AVM compatibility. As someone was asking us earlier today on Telegram, and I think it's also worth mentioning how Cartesi solves these two scalability aspects. So first, content abstractions like design choice, right? And also computational power. And so very briefly, can you explain more why Ethereum, why this development path? So take advantage and we answer this Telegram question that popped up today.
Well, the path for rollups is something that I guess is pun intended, the consensus in the community, right? That this is the best way forward to scale Ethereum in terms of computation, right? We are talking about being able to process, do much more complex processing and really build applications that currently are too expensive to run on Ethereum mainnet. So there are various rollup solutions out there. What I think stands us apart, and actually it's also a very interesting moment to be achieving mainnet, because the vision that we had back in the beginning, there was no term rollups at the time, and actually we always have been an application specific rollup, which is something that the term hasn't been coined. We didn't know how to call that and explain that to people, but now it's becoming, the industry is now understanding that the only way to really scale Ethereum is that you can't put all the applications in the same same computer, right? In the same node. It will eventually be too congested and won't scale. So we need to spread those applications so that a very, very successful DX, for instance, doesn't choke every other casual game that won't be able to run anymore because it can't fight for the place there. So this this application-specific vision is something that is part of what makes our computation scale so much with Cartesi DApp. But the other part is a Cartesi machine, which allows you to boot Linux. And I think in this part, we're also seeing the broader Web3 community embracing this idea in many places, right? That we want to use mainstream libraries, we want to use tools and algorithms that are already being in use and tested and battle tested for a long time. Nobody wants to rewrite those in Solidity. So doing everything in Solidity on a layer 2, in our view, is something that is not necessary. The EVM was made for layer 1 to have this metering system and this everything in place there. For layer 2, perhaps specific layer 2, we could do something different, and this is what we do. And we open up a whole bunch of possibilities, because now you can actually use virtually anything, any programming language, any library, and the sky's the limit. And we've been seeing already like some interesting use cases, like people putting ChatGPT inside the test machine and doing all sorts of stuff that are only possible because now you can have this deterministic computation verifiable on chain on the layer 1, right? So this is what we're offering now on mainnet. We have achieved now.
Great stuff. Thank you for this, and hope this clarifies a bit more our community questions. And I guess everyone is curious to get to the point, right? So now we are having the Honeypot app already deployed on Ethereum mainnet, correct? So let's start talking a bit more. What is this all about? And let's brief everyone, like why this name Honeypot and how Cartesi came up with this idea and what is the goal in the end, right? Let's start to shed more light here. Who is gonna help us start unpacking this? Anyone?
Oh yeah, I can go, Cynthia. Yeah, no, as Milton said, and as you also rightfully said, today's a huge day, and we are now mainnet ready. But I guess what does that mean in the context of Cartesi, right? Given that we're, as Milton said, app specific rollup infrastructure, meaning that every application has its own rollup instance. There is no one single mainnet rollup instance, right? That every application would deploy to, or to deploy on top of, right? As we might be used to with other projects. So instead, anyone is welcome to deploy their own app-specific rollups. Now, to show that we are mainnet ready and to help battle test the system, we are launching a first app-specific rollup on mainnet, which we are calling the Honeypot. And you can actually visit honeypot.cartesi.io, which is the landing page of the Honeypot for additional information. A bit about the name as well. Like in cybersecurity, a honeypot is a common term, right? It's usually used to talk about a network attached system set up to lure cyber attackers and detect, deflect, and study hacking attempts to gain unauthorized access to the systems. In a Cartesi case, really this honeypot serves as a fully permissionless and sort of decentralized hacking challenger game, if you will. Now, what the Cartesi Foundation did is they locked value, some honey, into the honeypot smart contract, which is powered by Cartesi Rollups. And anyone is welcome and crack it to get that good honey, and basically to test the security of Rollups V1. To kind of dive a bit deeper into really the goals of the honeypot, again, it's this gamified community testing ground to really, battle test the Cartesi Rollup security. You might be wondering what happens if you can extract the funds, right? Essentially, if you extract any honey from it, you get to keep it all, right? The honey is now yours, and essentially no one has information about the person extracting the funds, unless that person decides to come forward. So it's a really interesting concept, I would say. And a bit more on the details, we will be putting, how much money will we be actually putting in this pot might be a question that a few people have in the audience. So as of today, there are 35,000 CTSI already sitting in the honey pot with compounding 8% weekly allocations. Now, if the honey pot goes unhacked, it would hold approximately 1,772,889 CTSI after 1 year, which is over $265,000 at current prices. So a decent amount of honey to get. Again, this is a really big step. We want to increase confidence for developers to deploy their Cartesi powered applications on Ethereum, Arbitrum, and of course Optimism mainnet. And if someone breaches the honeypot, it's a great way to help us bolster and improve the system. Obviously as well, on the long term, an unbroken honeypot with a large amount of funds locked also really works as a testament of the security of Cartesi, for DeFi uses amongst others, right? As you might know, there's some people, there has been some DeFi hacks around bridges and stuff like that. So having a honeypot that has been battle tested and lasted over a longer period of time is a great showcase as well. So we hope to alleviate some concerns there. We're all super pumped about this major milestone again. Also want to congratulate all the Cartesi contributors and our amazing community for making this possible.
Thank you so much, Max. Lots of insights today, and really hope our community enjoys this breakdown of the news. And as you said, that would be a decent amount of honey. So I feel you touch on the most important parts, so that an uncracked honeypot with the funds locked for months on will really offer builders like increased confidence in the infrastructure. Like they will be confident in deploying their dApps on mainnet, and in consequence also the users should gain increased confidence in interacting with these dApps with real world assets, right? So great stuff here. But let me see, let's say I'm a developer and just learn about this honeypot of Cartesi and just heard about Cartesi, and I'm ready to give it a shot and to see if I can get my hands on this 35,000 Cartesi tokens, right? And even more, as next week we'll have already more in the pot, and every week we'll see this increase. The Cartesi Foundation will regularly deposit more and more until the amounts you said will end up over $200,000. So where do I start? Like, what do I do? Where do I search, or what do I search actually? How developers can crack it? Let's dive deeper into the technicalities here.
Okay, I can take that. So first of all, let's just be clear, like cracking honeypot is actually stealing the funds that are locked in the honeypot dApp.
Oh, I think we lost you. Are you guys still hearing Milton?
No, I've lost Milton as well.
Milton, we lost you.
You lost me? Still lost me?
No. We have you back. Okay.
Hello.
We are hearing you now.
Okay. Let's recap. So cracking the honeypot means stealing the funds that are locked in the honeypot dApp on Ethereum mainnet, right? So getting the funds out of that. And to understand what that means, I'll just dive a little bit deeper into technicalities. So to understand what's going on internally and what does it mean to actually, what could be the venues to try to get those funds out. So the Honeypot app, as we said, is deployed as an app-specific rollup on Ethereum, right? So the funds that it holds, they were deposited using like regular transactions. You just transferred some money over there using a Cartesi Rollup smart contract, and the money is being held on the Honeypot dapp's address on Ethereum. So that's where the funds are currently locked. So meanwhile, the Honeypot code, which is running on layer 2 in the Cartesi Rollups dapp inside Cartesi machine, it has received, and it's aware of that deposit of those. It has acknowledged it's received, and so now it holds that amount in, let's say, its layer 2 wallet, right? So it's aware of that, all those funds, that it has it. So now in theory, and that's what we want to test with the Honeypot, right? The only way to release these funds is if the Honeypot code on layer 2, if that's the only thing that has the authority to release those funds, right? So the Honeypot code needs to somehow issue a transfer of those funds away from the debit and back to some other account. So that's the only way that in theory that could be done. So the code in the Honeypot dapp is configured to allow only a specific Ethereum account to request the funds and ask it to be withdrawn. So when such a request, when it finally arrives at some day, that will issue what the code will issue what we call a voucher, which is just a way to specify transaction on layer 1. In this case, it's the transfer of funds from the dapp itself, from the dapp address to some other account, right? And this voucher, it comes with a proof that it actually came from the layer 2 machines, from the code inside the Cartesi machine. So in theory, there are only kind of 2 ways to try to get the funds out, which is, 1, you could try to find a way to trick the Honeypot code into creating that voucher, that authorization of transfer, even without having control of that authorized address, which is the only one that could request that, right? So that's a way. You could trick the code. You send some crazy input that makes the code go crazy, and it issues that voucher. The other way would be try to craft yourself that per authorization without using any of those codes. You do it yourself and you try to see if that sticks, right? So you try to use a transfer authorization that the dapp code didn't create. So that's the overview of what does it mean to crack it. And to give it a shot, you can just go to GitHub. I would start there and clone the Honeypot repo, which is on github.com/cartesi/honeypot. So there you can inspect the code. You can run everything on your local machine with a local setup, right? With everything local. You can fork mainnet locally if you want. You can do whatever to test things out, try things out in your local environment, pro every gut, and see if you can find a way to break it. And if you do find it, then try to go to mainnet and make it the real thing. So, and just to be clear, so we consider the Honeypot to have been cracked if the funds are stolen. So other things like, if for some reason the layer 2 node that is currently running the Cartesi machine suffers some kind of denial of service attack or something like this, is temporarily down, that's not cracking the system. The funds are still locked there. Nobody has been able to take it out. And it's always possible to spin up a new node, sync it to the layer 1 state, and resume business as usual. So that's what we mean, right, by cracking.
Okay, that makes sense, and great clarification about what's considered cracking the honeypot. So everyone that visits honeypot.cartesi.io will find these links to the GitHub code, to some like frequent asked questions. So they'll find all the details there to start trying to crack the honeypot. And yeah, let's see if we get any developers interested in setting this withdrawal mechanism and getting that transaction validated and getting the honey to their wallet. So yeah, while all hackers, developers, white hats, black hats, any hats are waited to try their luck with the honeypot. And time, it's flying here. We're already almost on the half of our session, and we already talked about the rollups on the mainnet a little bit. We talk about the honeypot, all technicalities, and let's move on and let's talk about, let's say, practicalities to keep the rhyme, right? So what are the practicalities of this new stage? Developers are now able to deploy their DApp if they choose to do so on Ethereum mainnet or on Optimism or Arbitrum mainnet. And as we said, playing with real world tokens with real monetary value. not testnet tokens so far. So here I'm thinking of all our builders, and okay, I think I'll spill the beans because I already seen some new stuff in our documentations, and even some new video tutorials guiding developers, like better than ever to say so. And we have Nico here today to brief us what we can find in the docs. So it's if everyone goes to docs.cartesi.io, what is new in there, Nico?
Thanks, Lindsay. Yeah. So, guys, basically, we have constantly been improving our documentation portal, which for us is like the main source of developer-facing documentation. This is like the if you're new to Cartesi or you want to brush up on your knowledge, this is like the place number one to go to. If you go to our documentation portal now, what we are doing there is we are dividing our documentation per sections, and I think mostly for builders, the rollup section is the one that's of most interest. There, we some theory about Cartesi Rollups and how it's built, DApp architecture. But I think the most practically important pieces of documentation are in the build dapps section, where we give you step-by-step tutorials on, first of all, how to just run a dapp that has already been created, and then to give you a step-by-step example of how you can customize an existing example and to build something fun on your own. Now, what we're trying to do as well is to make it more interactive by saying that, I mean, just to kind of avoid bombarding you with loads of text and code samples. So we started introducing video tutorials, mainly explaining high-level concepts. But on a roadmap, of course, are the more low-level videos where our developers would, contributors would explain and share the screen and show how things are built. We also are contributing to external platforms. So we recently published an introduction guide on Ethereum Global, which we encourage participants to use, and also ourselves. Our contributors are going to events as well, also as hackers. So we have hands-on experience also in using documentation. So it's a growing library, but it is an interactive environment. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is, of course, we haven't covered everything in the docs, and we're trying, coming up with ideas. We would really appreciate your community support on what you would like to see in the docs. So for that reason, we have created a channel. It's called Docs. It is in the main Cartesi Discord space, where we give you some updates on, for example, what we did on the docs, maybe request your help in giving us some feedback. For example, recently we started researching most common errors per operating system. So yeah, I would say, first of all, if you haven't done so, go to the docs.cartesi.io. Have a look and try them out. Any questions, just ping us there in the docs channel. We'll be more than happy to help you.
Thank you, Nico. Thank you. So now everyone knows where to go on Discord and who to tag for anything docs related. You can tag Nico with your recommendations, with your complaints. So as I understand, okay, thank you. There is nothing missing, right, for developers now to really start building Cartesi, to actually deploy on the mainnet and or on other L2 as we said, Arbitrum or Optimism. But talking about builders here, let's go back a bit to our Cartesian builders, to the Honeypot builders, the first builders to reach the mainnet in a way, right, building with Cartesi Rollups. So let's bring a bit more light into all this development of the Honeypot app, how it was built, and let's see if we can offer more insights to our community about the building of the first Cartesi Rollup app, the Honeypot. Who can take this?
I'll take it. So yeah, it's good to talk about this. So the Honeypot app, as Max already said, it was built to test. Really, there's several reasons, but one of them is to test the Cartesi Rollups infrastructure itself, right? To see how safe it is, and we can actually gauge that safety with the amount of honey that's there. And so for that reason, the team that built it, they had a very specific thing in mind. We want to focus on the infrastructure itself and not on the software of the Honeypot dApp. You want to see how safe the Cartesi Rollups is. So they decided to minimize any possible venue attack. So they wrote things that they wanted to minimize any dependency. We don't want like a bug to happen in some dependency that we had, and so the bug is there and not in the Cartesi Rollups infrastructure itself. So these people, they decide to write it in C, virtually no dependency, and pays very special attention to any possible memory allocation issues. They didn't even use our convenience level HTTP API. They used the low level API instead to be closer to the bare bones of the Cartesi infrastructure, so that their take on that want this to be able to be executed for millions of years and still be stable. So for that reason, one thing that I like to stress is that this dApp is not the best way to just have an intro on how to build on Cartesi, as all the resources that Nico has just talked about. Those are the easiest ways to go in. Of course, this I would say that you don't need to worry too much that these people just decide to take this first step with this extra care. I think it's kind of natural. The first time we're putting our feet in the water, let's be extra careful. But we're actually developing a feature which will enable Cartesi dApps to actually use a stateless execution model. We're dubbing this feature Lambda. And in that way, it will be really, really a lot safer in respect to memory leaks or things like that. And you won't need to worry about using things and worrying if over time, like blockchain applications are supposed to work forever without booting. That won't be a problem. So the other thing I like to talk about is that as you've seen, work on Cartesi Rollups has not stopped at all. On the contrary, we're doing a lot of things now. And as it progresses, there will be upgrades, new versions of the Rollups framework. And so minor upgrades like a more efficient node, this is something that we call like a light update. And we may be updating the layer 2 Cartesi node when those new versions pop up. That doesn't change any existing smart contract. That doesn't change the Honeypot code at all. It's just to make, if we have like a more efficient node or a faster node, we'll keep that updated so that the infrastructure that's being tested is the actual one that people have available. Of course, when and if we have a new major version, like cool new features, or if somebody finds a bug without that being used to exploit the Honeypot yet, and then yeah, we may upgrade the Honeypot dApp. And what does that mean? So first of all, the Honeypot dApp is configured to not be upgradable of it all, right? Like a regular smart contract. That really means is actually deploying a new version and transferring the funds of the old one over, and then of course updating both the GitHub repo and the front page to point to the new one. That will not happen anytime soon, but when like a year from now or something, we have a major version that changes smart contracts, that way may happen as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know how things are over there.
Okay, this is really helpful to talk about the entire lifespan of the Honeypot life. So very useful. But as you said that this is the first time we are putting our feet into the water. So this brought a question to mind. Like, can you like touch a bit more on what are the limitations of this this first stage? Because we are basically like Rollups version 1.0, right? We are still like recently a mainnet ready, as we used to say. So what developers need to know about this initial stage? What are the limitations, to say so?
Yeah, it's a good point. One of the limitations that it's good to like have this disclaimer of sorts, like this is a mainnet beta release, right? It's the first time we are dealing with mainnet, and so it's beta for a number of reasons. So obviously, since it's the first time that we are working with real assets, everybody like this is the time where actually people will try to hack it, try to break it. So of course, even if we have tested it extensively, audited it, there's always a possibility that there will be some way that a hacker could get something out, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to create a Honeypot in the first place. Aside from that, we do have a lot of things that we've been working on and that are not yet on this release. And one of them is this release, as happens with other projects, right? They have training wheels attached, right? So ideally, for a layer 2 solution, you would like a permissionless proof system so that anybody can come up and enforce the correct state of the layer 2. There is no rollups actually with that implemented at the moment. We do have, so we actually did have a fraud-proof system working on Cartesi. We do have a fraud-proof system working on Cartesi Compute, but we, for rollups and for to be mainnet ready, we're actually working on a permissionless fraud-proof system, which has already been a paper about it had already been released a couple of months ago, and we're working hard on it. But it's not on this release, so this still has these training wheels attached, right?
So are we talking about Dave here? Don't share too much to make
Dave, yeah, his name is Dave. He will help you, everybody.
Okay, we'll make a special dedicated session for Dave to unpack everything related to Dave. And like one informal question here. So for any hackers out there that they're already trying to crack the honeypot, what would you do? Would you wait to have more honey in the pot, or would you just try to break it immediately?
Oh, I will try to break it immediately. Really, if it's easy, then just get it because somebody else will get it first, right? So try to break it.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. You could be front run by someone else, and goodbye honey already. We still have today like a great audience despite putting up a last minute link, and this is really exciting here. If anyone wants to join the discussion on the stage or has any questions, just raise your hand to be given speaking rights, and yeah, we could make the discussion even more interactive already. And while everyone is thinking and getting the courage to ask questions on the stage, I guess we all still have this fresh in mind, Ethereum Global New York Hackathon from last weekend. And congrats to the winners once again, by the way. And we've seen great projects built with Cartesi, and we hope to see some of these hackathon projects reaching the mainnet phase as well, right? And as one hackathon finishes, there is always another one. Just looking ahead, or at least this is how Cartesi got us all used so far. And as we are now wrapping all New York, we are getting ready for Istanbul, right? And we will have again its $10,000 track at Ethereum Global Istanbul. And we are even more excited to be there to connect locally with all our Turkish community members. And we also have a local community. So shout out to all our Turkish community, to our ambassadors. And we are surely looking forward to meet everyone at the hackathon there. And also, this time around, hackers will also be able to find the Cartesi guide on Ethereum global portal, right? Would you like to say a bit more about this guide, Nico? Like talking about building and what we have ahead and all this. How was the process of this guide? Can we expect another guide on Ethereum global portal? What news you have for us?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Cynthia. Basically, we started writing this developer guide about 3 months ago, I would say. But at Global, they put everything on hold in terms of new guide submission. So we actually had everything ready and waited for a few months. Then last month, we needed to review the guides from the 1.0 perspective because it had been written for 0.8 still, which is actually quite good because now we have like a brand new guide, so all the commands there they have tested. Now before publishing it, the DApp team, all of us have had tried all the tutorials there on different operating systems just to make sure that everything works, and that if something doesn't work on a particular OS, that we put some notes there. So what is this guide about? First of all, it gives you a main overview about Cartesi Rollups, so what it's for and what our mission is, why we're doing it. Secondly, it focuses on running an existing example, an existing application, and it also has some, like every global guide, some quizzes there. After completing this guide, I believe that you'd have like a very solid understanding of what Cartesi Rollups are and how it works in terms of like running application. Now, of course, we would like to publish more guides, and I would say that the most important thing would be now something that would focus on deployment, various deployment options, mainnet now, and testnets. Also, something on customizing existing examples or building something from scratch. Our whole approach, documentation, is rather practical because we appreciate that most people, they don't like reading long posts about why something is doing something, but they want to try it out. So our next content would be very, very hands-on focused. And yeah, so I would say stay tuned for that. Whatever we publish in those guides in a more extensive form can be found in the documentation portal as well. And once again, as I mentioned, if you are either stuck or you think like, I would like you guys to cover a specific topic, please by all means reach out to us and we will take care of that.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Nico. So builders, this time around at the next hackathon in Istanbul, they will be in for a treat, right? They have all the infrastructure, mainnet ready. They have all documentation on point with also this guide. And apart, they'll also have a bigger honeypot with like 2 months of funds accumulated till November. So definitely they will have some things to play around with. And we'll also be there, like talking about Istanbul a bit now as we are wrapping this up. We'll also be there for the Dev Connect week, and Cartesi will even host its own event, right? Like with a co-host. But like I don't want to say too much, but I guess I already did already, and I'll share this responsibility with Max because he will be boots on the ground leading this initiative. So. Max, can you share some details or what can you actually share with our community to give them a sneak peek about what will happen in Istanbul?
Sure thing. Yeah. I mean, you already spilled the beans a bit, but yeah, as you said, we're currently organizing events. We're in the process of organizing events around Dev Connect during that week. Amongst others, we are working on a VM day with some amazing partners, with the goal of shining some light on, the projects with unique execution environments, alternative virtual machines, such as Cartesi, right? Obviously all, running within the Ethereum ecosystem. So that will be, we'll share more on that soon, I think, but a little sneak peek on what we're working on at the moment.
Thanks. Cheers, Max. Great. So everyone keep an eye out and spot the event on our socials. And yeah, be sure to join if you'll be in Istanbul for the Dev Connect week, for Ethereum Global Istanbul. Hope to see you there and hope you will connect with our Cartesians in person. And we are almost at the end of our session. If there are any questions from our listeners today, please raise your hand, join the discussion on the stage. If anyone is eager to ask anything or any other Cartesi contributor that wants to add anything worth mentioning or anything that we forgot to mention, like feel free to raise your hand and you will be given speaking rights. And talking about building and about builders and about the infrastructure, and about the hackathons in Istanbul, if you cannot join in person, no worries, because building can always take place online, right? So most of you might be already familiar with our grants program with the CGP that offers grants for proposal that pass the community vote. So please, everyone, check out governance.cartesi.io, and there you'll find all the details to apply, or you could just check the proposal that they're already submitted and contribute with feedback or join the ongoing debates. And everyone is more than welcome to do so. And we're definitely looking forward to see more proposals and more developers joining Cartesi Ecosystem now that they're able to deploy on Mainnet, right? So let's see. I'm sure I'm speaking in everyone's name here, and yeah, let's see what the grant program will bring in the Cartesi ecosystem going forward. And speaking about developers, hope our community is already familiar with our spotlight on Discord. Like everyone who submits a project will receive a boundless builder NFT. So take a look in there, see what's being built, join in the fun if you're building, submit your project because there is an NFT waiting for you there. And let's hear from our audience. If we don't have any more questions, if we don't have any more suggestions, I'll then just invite our speakers to just go around and see if they want to add any closing thoughts, anything that is still worth mentioning for our community today regarding Honeypot, regarding Rollups, regarding any events. You want to go ahead again?
I'd say just get that honey.
Yeah, that indeed, short and sweet. Get that honey.
Yeah, and if you're stuck, read some docs.
This is very nice. Yeah, Milton. Now they raised the bar too high. What can you add?
I'll just say, go play and be happy. And I think we just have a good reason to celebrate today. And if you can celebrate and get some honey, all the better, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, if any questions come to mind later from anyone in our community, everyone is welcome to join our Discord. And there we have all our Cartesians building in public together with our community. And all our contributions are welcome there. So see you on Discord. And speaking about Discord, let's remember Monday, October 2nd, we'll have our second monthly recap live call with all the technical units. So last call was really great. You don't want to miss this session, and tune in to hear what they've been working on. Take advantage to clarify any doubts that might have arisen today about Rollups, about Mainnet, about Honeypot. And yeah, see you on Discord. And if you like instead these spaces, on Friday we'll have Max joining another X space. Hope there will not be the same problem with starting the space. And yeah, tune in to hear from Max, from other L2 solution speakers on Web3 BD channel. And you'll find the link on Cartesi profile. We already shared the link with our community. And yeah, I guess we are like finishing our allocating time. And if we missed anything, let's continue the conversation on Discord. And thank you everyone from the audience for joining us today. And we'll surely keep in touch on our community channels. And that's it. It's a wrap. I wish you all a great rest of your day. And happy mainnet stage, right? Happy honeypot. And goodbye for now, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.